What's up guys, Chimp here and welcome back to another video. Today it's my first NFL mock draft on the channel and it's my 2022 NFL mock draft 1.0, as you can see the title right here. These picks are obviously not final. We have a long time until the draft, so the draft order is nothing really to be taken seriously. Uh, this is just what the Draft Network provided me with, and this is what I used to make my 2022 NFL mock draft. So let's get into it. We're starting off with the number one overall pick, and that's the Houston Texans taking Spencer Rattler. Now listen, I've watched a lot of draft film. Yes, I do watch draft film, and Spencer Rattler, the only real flaw that he has is inconsistency. That's really the huge thing. And really, other than that, he doesn't have many flaws to him. Rattler is a great player. Really has good mobility, has good throw on the run accuracy. I think he's definitely set to be the number one overall pick. I hope he doesn't get benched again like he did in 2020. That was just stupid how he was playing. But Rattler going to the Texans just makes a lot of sense. Deshaun Watson's not going to be there anymore, so Rattler is potentially their franchise quarterback of the future. Now, this is a pick that you may have not seen before. And this is what I'm trying to say is this is not a very common pick. And the Lions taking Kayvon Thibodeau may make more sense than you think. That's all I'm going to say. The Lions taking Kayvon Thibodeau, you look at this. He's the best player in the draft. Obviously, he got injured. If we don't take that into account, obviously he's the best player in the draft. He has just unbelievable talent. And the Lions are in need of an edge rusher, a pass rusher basically, right? And Thibodeau can fill that role. Yes, they do need a quarterback. But if you look at it, there aren't really that many good quarterbacks on the board. Yes, Sam Howell, I don't know how good he's going to do without his two receivers, Diami Brown and Daz Newsome, and his two running backs, Michael Carter and Javonte Williams. He does have, what's his name? It's the brother of Diami Brown. He was there last year as well. He was a decent impact player. I forgot his name. It'll come to me. But I don't know how he's going to do. Malik Willis, I do like out of Liberty, but I don't know how he's going to do, really. In 2021, he's a guy who could have a huge rise or just stay where he is or have a huge fall. So Thibodeau is just the safest player. It's just the best bet for the Lions at 2. Bengals at 3, this is Evan Neal. This is going to become a meme. I have repeatedly said the Bengals have a bad offensive line. And Evan Neal is just a complete package. Can play every single position on the O-line except for center. And now he's playing blindside protector. If they realize Jonah Williams isn't their guy, Evan Neal can play left tackle. If they don't like Jackson Carman as a guard or a tackle, they can play Evan Neal in those two roles. Only thing they don't have right now when they get Evan Neal is a center. That's all. Jets at 4, this is Derek Stingley Jr. This is a really obvious pick in my opinion. Stingley had a really down season in 2020, to say the least, compared to his true freshman year where he had 6 interceptions and was one of the best corners in college football. Stingley had injuries, COVID, and more penalties than usual, and he didn't have a single interception. So the Jets taking Stingley could be a risk, but if you look at the upside of drafting this guy right here, he's going to get you a ton in your secondary, and that's a huge need for the Jets. They don't even have Brian Poole anymore. They have Bleswan Austin, Bryce Hall, Marcus May, who's on a franchise tag, and Ashton Davis. So Stingley can easily get the starting role there in New York. Number 5 is the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're going Kyle Hamilton. This guy is probably my favorite player in the entire draft. Now, there's a difference between favorite and best. Like, I think Thibodeau is the best player in the draft, and no question about it. But I think Kyle Hamilton's really my favorite player in this entire draft. I don't see a way how he falls out of the first round. This guy is a linebacker who can cover elite and play safety. Right? That's basically what Kyle Hamilton is. He has in the box ability, sideline to sideline range, and can easily intercept the ball, just lurk in Madden terms. The Jags have such a bad safety core. I think that they're even lucky that Kyle Hamilton potentially lasted to them, because I could see the Jets going Kyle Hamilton. I honestly could. I could see the Lions going Kyle Hamilton, because both of them have not the best source at safety. So that's how I envision the Jags as lucky. Kyle Hamilton's just my favorite player in the draft. He's really, really good. Eagles at 6. This is another interesting one. This is DeMarvin Leal. Or Leal. I don't know. I call him Leal. But Eagles getting a really versatile pass rusher, right? Who can pressure the quarterback and can stop the run. That's enough for me. Like, you look at Brandon Graham, right? He's a good player, but he's aging. And that's a huge, huge factor into what the Eagles are going to take here. And Leal is just a really athletic guy who can stop the run. That's really who he is. I don't like how they've just pinned IDL into his profile here, because I think he's definitely more versatile than you think. But the Eagles are getting a really good player here with DeMarvin Leal. Now the Falcons here at 7, they're taking Sam Howell. I think he's getting a little bit overhyped. Commentators just really love this guy. I don't really see where they're coming from. Like, I know he's a good player. I see the accuracy. I see the deep ball. But saying that he's a Heisman Trophy winner and one of the best quarterbacks, if not the best in college football, I think that's an overstatement. So, the Falcons taking him at 7, I think, is about the value he should go. And he didn't really do well against Virginia Tech. 3 interceptions. And you would like to have a little bit less than that, maybe 0, His mobility, though, in the Virginia Tech game was definitely evident. He was running around a ton. He's not good under pressure. And with that Falcons offensive line, you're going to have to get used to it. But Howell at 7, maybe he can be their franchise quarterback. I doubt the Falcons actually take a quarterback, because judging by what they did in 2020, they're trying to hold on to Matt Ryan as long as possible. So we'll see how early or how late Sam Howell goes in the actual draft. Now, this is, according to me, the worst pick in the entire mock draft. And it probably is according to you as well. You look at Andrew Booth Jr. going in the top 10. Well, it's the Raiders. Okay? You look at their team. Who did they draft in 2019? Number 4 overall, Clelin Ferrell. How does that even make sense? Right? Clelin Ferrell was a guy who was projected to go like top 16. At the best, maybe in the top 10, like bottom. Not at 4. He was a great player at Clemson, but obviously they overvalued him as he's not been that good in the NFL. Then you look at Trayvon Mullen, also a corner there for the Raiders. I don't know about him just yet. Andrew Booth Jr. just fills a need, and he's a Clemson defender, and those are the 2 Raiders things that you could want, right? They'll take the position that they need. They'll just overvalue a player, and it'll be stupid. But Andrew Booth Jr., he's a good player as well. You got to give him credit. He's a hard-hitting guy. He's a good outside corner, boundary corner. So the Raiders, we're not going to say that this is necessarily a bad pick. I just think this is the worst pick in the entire mock draft. Moving on to number 9. This is the Giants taking Drake Jackson. He's a good outside linebacker. We'll see how Azeez Ojulari does. Of course, second-round pick out of Georgia. he was really undervalued in the draft, but Drake Jackson can easily replace O'Shane Ximenez, Azeez Ojulari. I don't know if Jabal Sheard's still there, or Lorenzo Carter. Drake Jackson is pretty good, and he can play on the edge. You look at Dexter Lawrence or Leonard Williams, two defensive tackles. They can play nose tackle in the Giants 3-4, and then they can slide Drake Jackson at the end, and they can have Ojulari or Ximenez and Lorenzo Carter play outside linebacker. I think Drake Jackson's good. He just doesn't have enough strength off the line. I'm not saying that I have amazing muscle mass because I don't, but Jackson just has to be stronger than what he is right now. But he's a really good athlete. He really is. He's a good finesse rusher. He just doesn't have too much power. Now, this may be a confusing pick for a lot of you because this is Jackson Kirkland is a guy who's not really being talked about much. And I've seen some tape on him, and I'm pretty impressed, actually. Kirkland is probably the best pure blindside protector in this class. Oh no. Alright, well that sucks. So basically what I did is I backed out of it. So I'm going to have to go back to it. And here we are. So, yeah, Jackson Kirkland, as I was saying, is the best pure blindside protector in this draft. Okay? Evan Neal, I know he's playing left tackle. He's just not a pure blindside. He was a guard coming out of high school, and he made the transition to right tackle. And then Leatherwood was gone. Neal's playing left tackle. Kirkland is a left tackle, 6'6", 310, and just really knows how to hold his blocks, is the thing with Kirkland. So the Panthers, who are in have a pretty bad hole at left tackle, and I think they can easily slide in Jackson Kirkland and potentially make him a great left tackle of the future. Giants taking Malik Willis. This guy is an interesting prospect because, listen, you're going to see so many things on the web of every single quarterback in the 2022 NFL draft winning MVP. You're just going to have to ignore that. Not MVP, the Heisman. But Willis is, in my opinion, an actual true candidate for the Heisman Trophy. You look at his dual threat ability for Liberty. That's good enough for me. You know, I'll be honest, I've not watched too much film on Willis. I've just really looked at his statistics a bit, but judging by the hype he's getting by a lot of people, I do think he's potential. Oh, I wasn't even showing it, but I think he's a definite potential top 11 pick in the draft, maybe even top 10. And Arizona Cardinals is Kyer Elam. I think he's related to Matt Elam, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, nephew. Alright, okay. But, yeah, Matt Elam was a former first-round picked by the Ravens. I know him very, very well, you know. Had some clear off-the-field issues, if I may point out. But Elam is just a physical corner. Again, he's another guy who I've not really watched much film on. But I think the Cardinals, they need a defensive back. And I think Elam is the best one on the board right now. So they take him. Washington. Can you put Washington football team, please? That's bothering me right there. But I have him going Carson Strong. This guy is getting either too little hype or too much hype. Strong is a good player, alright? He doesn't have the arm, and he doesn't really want to run. It's not that he doesn't have mobility, he just struggles to make this decision to run. There will be a wide open hole in the offensive line that the line has created, and he will just try and throw the ball. This is when you run, and Strong just doesn't want to, but he has decent speed when he does run. Strong is not a mobile quarterback. He's more of a scan the field, check down, conservative kind of guy. If you want a safe prospect with the low ceiling, you're taking Carson Strong. But this guy could also have a high ceiling or a low floor. We have to see how 2021 goes for him. But Strong can definitely be a franchise quarterback and even a starter day one for a team that wants to take him in the first round. Now this is another pick that I half-heartedly made, just like Booth Jr. and Willis. Corral is I don't like him too much, but another guy, dual threat ability. He's just an exciting player. His passing ability in some plays are so bad. That's all I'm gonna say. He just forces the ball a little too much to my liking, but he does have decent speed. He tries his best to make something out of nothing. So the Steelers could definitely start Corral day one. I don't think he's that kind of starter. If you're wanting to take Corral, take him in the late first round where you're not wasting too high of a pick on him. Vikings is Trent McDuffie. McDuffie is a guy who can really do it all, in my opinion. Zone, man. I really like what I see out of him. And the Vikings have Patrick Peterson. They cut Jeff Gladney. They don't have Mike Hughes anymore. They really have dismantled their cornerback core. And other than Patrick Peterson, off the top of my head, really nobody's coming into my mind. So McDuffie can just really improve that secondary a ton. Broncos at 16 is George Karlaftis. You're going to hear this from a lot of draft analysts. Karlaftis is a really good player. He's a guy who can just disrupt the passer, and that's what you want in a defensive end. Oh, then why wouldn't he go higher? Injuries. Injuries are really derailing how high he goes. I love Karlaftis. I think he can definitely be good if his injuries just don't bog him down. That's all. Chargers at number 17. I'm going Kingsley Enagbare. This guy, I don't really know what he's good at. Like, I think he's a power rusher, mainly, as an archetype in Madden. But I don't really know. He's a decent player. I think he can definitely go first round. He's a decent player. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to say anything better than that. Another pick that's just I really half-heartedly made, but I have seen this happen a ton. I like Kingsley Enagbare a bit. Now the Patriots at number 18. I had them going Treylon Burks. People love Garrett Wilson or Chris Olave. Treylon Burks, in my opinion, is potentially the second best receiver in this entire draft behind Garrett Wilson. I think the Patriots, though, judging by how they've drafted, right, this is another thing where I use my history knowledge of the NFL draft. I've been alive since 1476. I know how the draft has gone since then. But Treylon Burks is a guy who I just think really fits into that Patriots vibe. He gives me the Patriots vibe, right? Look at this guy. Look at him. And tell me he doesn't belong on the New England Patriots, right? Look at his eyes and tell him he doesn't belong with the Patriots. Burks, though, is a good athlete. He can catch the ball, and you can really play him at anywhere in the field, according to my knowledge, right? Is he like that? Maybe. I don't know. Felipe Franks was lucky to have him in his final season at Arkansas. Patriots are getting a pretty good player here in Treylon Burks. Saints going Chris Olave. He's a great route runner. I don't think he's better than Treylon Burks or even Justin Ross for that matter, or George Pickens or Garrett Wilson. Chris Olave is nothing special. And I do have him going to the Saints, which is another thing kind of peculiar. You would expect them to go corner, because they did say that they did need to address corner in the 2021 NFL Draft. In 2022, though, you look at the potential of Michael Thomas leaving the Saints. This is huge. Even though I don't really consider him as a good player, Olave has to come in there and start day one, and I think that's exactly what he can do. So there you go. There's my reasoning of why the Saints should take Chris Olave here. Eagles going Christian Harris. Harris is a really physical guy, hard hitter, but other than that, I don't really see a lot of spectacular things coming from Harris. If you search up Christian Harris highlights, you're going to see monster Alabama linebacker, because that's exactly what he is. He's a monster. You don't really want to get tackled by him. But and the Eagles, though, they really need linebacker, and this is, I'll be honest, not the best linebacker class. Looking at the first linebacker taken at number 20 overall, that's not very good. And so clearly this is not the best linebacking class. Christian Harris, though, is no doubt the best linebacker in this draft. So the Eagles are definitely getting a good player here at number 20. Number 21, Dallas Cowboys, is Jalen Weidermeyer. The hype for the Cowboys taking a tight end has definitely died down a bit, I'm not going to lie. But I don't care. Weidermeyer can catch the ball, and Blake Jarwin and Dalton Schultz aren't the best options to start at tight end. If you want a starting tight end, I think Weidermeyer is your guy here at 21. 22 is the Jets taking Kenyon Green. He can play right guard immediately, so that's why I'm taking him. Right guard is a big need. I don't know if Alex Lewis is going to be starting there, or I just don't know how it's going to go down. But, yeah, Kenyon Green's definitely a first-round caliber player. Colts at number 23 is Garrett Wilson. I think Wilson definitely should have gone earlier, maybe to the Patriots or something. But Wilson I can see him going at 23, because Chris Olave is potentially, I'm not going to say definitely, is potentially the number one receiver. So Garrett Wilson's production may drop down a bit, and we could see some hype rising around Chris Olave. So that's the reason why I have Olave going above Wilson. Wilson, in my opinion, is maybe even the second best receiver in this draft. I didn't actually talk about one, so I lied to you. Treylon Burks, in my opinion, is actually the third best receiver in this draft. But Garrett Wilson, yeah, he's going at 23. I think this is a little bit of undervalue, but I'm fine with this. The Colts really do need a receiver. Titans at 24. This is Sevyn Banks. Banks is a decent player. I'm not going to say he's amazing, but he can definitely come in, not even day one maybe, but he can just improve that secondary. You look at now Caleb Farley, Sevyn Banks, and Elijah Molden. Three guys who are super young. Right? That's a really young secondary, especially in the corner core. And then you also include, of course, I think Amani Hooker is still there. Maybe. But, yeah, you look at Kevin Byard as well. That's a really young secondary that you can assemble with Sevyn Banks. Browns at 25, George Pickens. George may not even commit this year. He probably will commit next year. Pickens is a good player. He can catch the ball. I've said, by the way, disclaimer here. Have I said everybody is a good player in this video? I think I have. But whatever. George Pickens is just a really good player. And the Browns could really use him. If Odell Beckham Jr. trade rumors are true, then Pickens is coming to the Browns. Dolphins at 26. This is Tyler Linderbaum. He's a center. It's a huge position of need for them. They lost, what was his name? Was it Ted Karras? I think it was Ted Karras, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, Dolphins, they lost their starting center. Tyler Linderbaum, he's a run-blocking center mainly, but I think he can push people out of the way and has decent agility. This guy could definitely be a starting center for the Miami Dolphins. Baltimore Ravens at 27. This is Brandon Joseph. I know that Jordan Battle is potentially projected to go here, but I don't care. Brandon Joseph, I want my Ravens, my favorite team, Ravens, to go with a good pick. And Brandon Joseph is the best pick available right now for our needs. He's a safety, all right? We need a safety really bad. Of course, Chuck Clark and Deshaun Elliott, I think both are on expiring contracts, so that's huge. Tyler Vrabel is going to the Green Bay Packers. So at first, you might think this is a joke. The best right tackle that was on the board. I've not looked at Daniel Falwell, so I can't really just say, oh, I haven't looked at him. I haven't seen his stats, but he's 400 pounds, so I might as well just put him here at number 28. I think he's actually lost like 20 pounds, so now he's 380, but still. Vrabel is a good player. He just really, I don't know, really. I need to watch more tape on Vrabel to tell you more stuff about him, but yeah, Vrabel is sometimes bad and sometimes good, so inconsistency, I guess. Ahmad Gardner at 29, he should have gone way earlier. So I can't agree. Maybe you swap these two picks, and the Titans go Ahmad Gardner, and Bills go Seven Banks. But Ahmad Gardner, I've not watched him as well. I have watched his teammate Myjai Sanders, who we'll be getting to in a minute here, but this just really helps their secondary is all. It's a huge need. Tre'Davious White, I don't know if Levi Wallace is still there. I may have to Google that, but Ahmad Gardner, welcome to the Buffalo Bills. This is the guy who I think is the best receiver in this entire draft. John Mechie III. Why do you have him going at 30? I think for other teams, these receivers might be more valuable. And of course, Mechie's coming out of Alabama, and he has an amazing quarterback throwing to him in Bryce Young. Mechie somehow managed to pull off a great year in 2020 with the Heisman Trophy winner in Devontae Smith, who had 1,800 yards. And he still managed to have about, 900 yards? He's 6 foot, 195 apparently. He's 20, I think he's going to be 22 years old. Lions are getting, what's a synonym for good? I don't know. A great player. There you go. Buccaneers go Justin Ross. The Draft Network had him rated as 108. I get that Ross had an amazing, by amazing I mean terrible, injury. Amazing by the fact that it was amazingly terrible, is what I'm trying to say here. He had an unbelievable injury, and that could say that he's not a first-round pick. DJ Uiagalelei, who was so bad, by the way, against Georgia, I already predicted this. So if you did not know, DJ Uiagalelei, I already predicted to be bad because I didn't see too much potential in him in 2020. But Justin Ross was targeted so much for the moments that I watched in the Clemson-Georgia game, and he came down with most of them. If he doesn't get injured in a game, I guess that's his... If he doesn't get... Okay, my audio cut out. This has happened before. But if he doesn't get injured in a game, that could be a success, as I was saying, because he got injured, 3 times against Ohio State? So, not very good. And then, final pick of this very lengthy mock draft, 29 minutes now. But Myjai Sanders going to the Chiefs, I don't care what they do. Not because I hate the Chiefs, because they have a really complete roster. They don't really need any position. But edge, I think, definitely can be improved. Frank Clark is meh. He's definitely not worth $20 million that they're paying him. Sanders is another guy like Drake Jackson, who just doesn't have enough strength. But Sanders, unlike Jackson, avoids as much contact as he can in a play. You will see that when you watch him. Trust me. He tries to avoid as much contact as he can. So, that is something that we could see as good, because he is getting after the quarterback, but also bad because he doesn't have enough experience as a power rusher. So that could be pretty bad for the Kansas City Chiefs if they're not getting a very versatile player. But after rambling on about my 2022 NFL Mock Draft 1.0, I hope you enjoyed. Hit the like button. That's my landline phone, and I'll see you in the next video.